And good morning. How are you?
Doing great. And you?
I'm good. Thanks.
Where are you at right now?
I'm in New York. I'm in the city.
Okay, we're just on the other end.
Where are you? You're in
I'm
Los
in L.
Angeles? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You're like the first person I talked to today.
I say it's early there for you, right?
Yes, it is, but totally worth it because we get to talk about Jules and what a phenomenal, touching story. But it's no surprise for you to be involved because you are about these films that have meaning and touch hearts.
Well, thanks, Nancy. That's a great place to start because that's what I always look for. It's got to have both. It's actually got to have three things for me to sign on to a project, and hopefully we deliver it. It's got to have meaning. It's got to have heart. And it's got to be something that entertains at the end of the day. If the movie doesn't entertain you, if it's just it's just, sort of heavy with a message, that's not enough for me. And so I'm always looking for those stories which have all of those elements in it. And there's not a lot, but they're out there.
You did work closely with Gavin in this.
Well, Gavin's a screenwriter, as you know, and the screenplay came to me, and it was largely what you see on the screen. I'd like to take credit for the genius of the screenplay, but it's 90% him. We made some modifications, when I came into the project, but it had been developed by another producer before I got it. But he's an interesting guy because I don't want to give away too much. Can I talk a little bit about the movie, or will it be giving away too much if I start talking about the cats?
I think you should talk about it. I mean, this will be seen on the release day, so
It's
but
okay.
so it's okay.
Well, there's a scene in it where cats are used as, oh, I'm not going to give it away. I can't. There's something that's holding me back. You'll have to see it yourself.
But when I saw that, I was like, oh, the sacrifice. The sacrifice, all people say.
Right. It just shows it's while the movie is, I will say this, is wildly inventive. And that's kind of what drew me to it. I'd look for something that I could have never seen before. And in this story, Gavin, created a world that it kept surprising me. It made me laugh throughout. But it kept surprising me at the same time because I didn't think it was going to turn in the direction it turned.
I love the characters. They're phenomenal. Not to mention Milton, played by Kingsley, who's a phenomenal actor. But Jules, finding Jules and not going crazy, but going simple.
Yeah, Jules is played by Jade Quon. I was in LA. We cast out there for that character. And I read 8 different women to play. I will give this much away for people who haven't seen it yet. She's a 4'11" alien. It's not CGI. It's a real person wearing prosthetics. And the prosthetics took her 4 to 5 hours a day to put on. Then she had to go and perform, Nancy. And after that, an hour to take the costume off. So it's very realistic. And once you watch the movie, you'll see that you don't really see the prosthetic. You just see her eyes, you see her performance. And she's kind of the secret sauce to the movie.
And just trying to read her facial expressions. That's where I was at for all the shots she was in. I was trying to read it, the eyes, like
Right.
the lips. I feel like it was the lips.
It's different for everyone, isn't it? We all want that perfect, I call it the perfect listener. We want that in our partner, our children, our family, our friends. We just want someone that really hears us. And that's what the character of Jules does. She just listens, but she's so present. And that's what she said to me, the actress. I was so impressed. She said, Mark, I always want to be present in every scene so that the actor playing opposite me can read into my face what he or she needs to read, and the audience can do the same. And I think that's kind of the secret sauce.
Milton gets that. That's what I feel like as an older senior citizens, I've been around them. I'm sure you have too. That's what they seek. They seek a little bit of time and someone just to be present, listening to them, not just going in and questioning, here, this is what you got to do. And oh, you need to do this. You need to take care of that. Where we kind of see where the daughter comes in and that's all she does.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's natural, but we also want that, Nancy, even no matter what age we are. We just want to be heard. We don't want someone who's going to be thinking about what they're going to say next when they're when they're listening to us. We want somebody that really can listen deeply. And I'm making this sound like it's very philosophical. It is, and it has meaning, but it's also ridiculously funny. And I think that's key. If it doesn't entertain, then the message and what's underlying it in the subtext won't come through.
That is correct. And Kingsley does a phenomenal job, like I said. I mean, getting into this role as Milton, I just saw him in Dollyland. Did you see that one?
Haven't yet. No.
Dolly.
No.
And then I see him in this. I'm just coming up in disbelief of how phenomenal he can just jump into characters like this. Now, casting him, how did you know he was the perfect Milton?
That's sort of a feel thing, Nancy. I when I thought about the role, I thought, oh, Ben Kingsley, I've never seen Sir Ben do something like this before. And he loves the movie. I'm quite glad to say. But I just immediately thought he'd be perfect because I wanted to play the movie and the character straight. And by that, I mean, I didn't want them to be playing it for the joke. There's so much humor already in the screenplay. There's so much outrageous humor in the situations that we don't need to play it for a joke. The audience will get it. They'll laugh anyway. And so I wanted actors, and starting with Sir Ben, to play it in a very grounded, real way. And that makes it even funnier.
I'm not sure if I read it right, but he was kind of like, I got this. I got Milton.
Yeah, you're referring to something I said. He called me down after a couple of days. And, you as a director, you're always giving ideas and thoughts. And this is all these actors are consummate professionals. And I went down to his trailer and we're chatting before he goes on the set that day. And he says, Mark, I've got Milton. And I said, what do you mean, Sir Ben? He said, you can let him go. I've got him now. And I think what he was letting me know is I've embodied this guy. Let me run with it. And I think that's what I try to do in general when I work with great actors. Is directors get way too much credit. If you have a great screenplay and you have great actors, you get out of their way. And in fact, Nancy, I don't even rehearse. I like to let the actors come in, bring in what, as I put it, bring in what they're going to bring in. And then later, after a take or two, you can always go in and talk about, hey, could we try it somewhat differently? But I try not to mediate their performance before they actually come in.
Characters of Sandy and Joyce were hilarious. Not to mention Joyce, who's kind of like the wild one.
Yeah, that's Jane Curtin. And I knew in casting Jane, I was hopeful she would sign on, and she did. All these actors signed on within 5 days of sending them the script, which just tells you how much they love the project. But I knew that she would bring an element to the story that Harriet Harris and Sir Ben wouldn't bring to the story. They bring a very solid, emotionally deep characters, but Jane would be a little bit of a wild card, and I knew the story needed that.
Yeah, I mean, I was just kind of like, she would be like the Samantha from Sex and the City.
There you go. She's the one. And the song that she sings, I mean, I don't think it's giving away too much, but she sings this version of Freebird that is priceless.
And then can we talk a little bit about the scene with played by Harriet, Sandy, where she starts to bond with Jules?
Harriet Sansom Harris is one of our real gifts to stage and to cinema. She's amazing actress, and it's a good example of how you can get in the way as a director of a great actor. There's a moment where she sees Jules for the first time, and she's talking to Milton, Sir Ben, about it. And he's very matter of fact. He's got this alien sitting on his couch watching TV, as he says. He's not demanding. He watches everything I watch, and it's just normal for him. After just a very short time, he's bonded. And Harriet Sandy in the movie does something with her hands, like it's an alien from another galaxy. And it's so priceless. I do a really bad version of it. But when you see it in the movie, I remember thinking, I would never have suggested that she do that. And by getting out of the way and letting her do what she does, she brings in something that I could never have expected. And it's, I think it's pure genius. But yeah, in that moment, she's sharing her innermost thoughts about her family.
How many shots did it take, the scene where she walks in and sees Jules for the first time? Because that was hilarious. I was like laughing by myself out loud.
If you're watching this by yourself, you got to see it in the theater, because with an audience, they always, it's a whole different thing with a comedy, and it has strong comedy. All of the scenes, I would say almost every scene was 3 to 5 takes. That's all. Rarely would I go to 7. But I just think you beat an actor up if you go too long.
So we get to see kind of like a repetitive, but not really, where Milton goes in and states his request with the city, and
Yeah.
that was actually that was an awesome opening to give an idea of a background versus to adding like half an hour of a film.
Well, it was in the screenplay, it was probably another 5 or maybe 10 minutes more of that. And I realized you can get it without having to watch 20 minutes of it. I think it now runs around all of those sequences, and they're broken up as maybe 7 minutes or so. And it's broken up with Sir Ben's daughter showing up, Denise, played by Zoe Winters from Succession. It's broken up with his seeing her, but those 3 City Hall segments all happen in about 7 minutes. But in the story, in the screenplay, it was probably 15 or 20 minutes. But it was necessary because it gives you a sense of what these characters' life was like, not just Milton, but Sandy and Joyce, that they go to these town hall meetings and they just want to be heard. And it sets up the rest of the movie.
So what do you hope people take away from watching this film?
I hope that they take away how important it is to have connection throughout life. And I hope that they laugh and have fun with it. And I hope, of course, if they do like the movie, that they'll share it, because these small independent movies depend on word of mouth. So if you love it, tell somebody about it.
That's right. And don't wait around for a Jules to come to your life, right?
There you go. Thank you. I like it. You could give us the tagline.
For sure. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.